In this video, I just want to go through the studio that I've got, the drums that I've got, talk a little bit about myself and the services I offer. I'm a remote session drummer. My name's Alex Biggs and this is Drum Bass Studios. Let's get into it. So the most important part, I guess, of any setup like this is actually the drummer himself. What I've been doing, I've been playing the drums for well over 30 years. I started at a really young age, and by the time I was 18, I was playing professionally abroad. Had a great time doing that. I've been in lots of studios, been in so many bands of all genres, so I've had a great wide experience. The reason I decided to do this was because I do a lot of teaching, work from home, so I thought I'd invest and get a studio up and running. It just makes more sense and it is more professional. I can do great sounding tracks. I've invested a lot of money in the equipment, so these are all studio grade microphones. So these are your Sennheiser 421s. On the low tom I've got AKG D112, in the bass drum as well. On the outside of the kick I've got Aston Origin, a condenser mic, that's really good. Your snare has got the classic SM57 underneath the beat 58. SM81 on the hi-hat. For the overheads I've got a Rode NT4, it's a stereo mic, so no phase issues. I line that up with the room mic, which is a Warm Audio 67. I measure the distance, make sure it's exactly with the snare. I can then get the drum kit in phase and then I can layer all the other mics on top. I find that works really well. The drum kit I've got is a Yamaha Recording Custom. It's the most recorded drums apparently ever. This is a really great one. This is from the mid-90s, I believe. The cymbals are really nice as well, and more importantly than anything, it's the studio itself. So drums is a big instrument with a big noise. So what you need is a lot of room in the studio to get a decent sound out of the drums. So what I've done, I've got 12-foot high ceilings up there, and why I've put it here is because the best thing I found to do is to hit the drum, like the snare drum and a couple of the toms, walk around the room and find the best place for it. Luckily it was just here. I did try it in the middle of the room where you think the height would work. It didn't sound so great, but having absorption above you works really well, and the drums just sound absolutely great here, and that's brilliant for me because they're out of the way as well. The whole studio has been done so that it's acoustically treated. These walls are called constrained layer dampening, so basically they've been glued with rubber, so when the bass hits they absorb a lot of that by vibrating. The whole room is covered with acoustic treatment and the whole thing floats on rubber. So it's a great sounding room. It really helps the drums come alive. And I've got over here, I've got these gobos that I made myself. I've got a Skyline diffuser, and that basically scatters the sound to make the room bigger. The absorption ones have actually got membranes inside which are stretched, and what happens is when the sound hits them they vibrate and they take out that low end, and behind that's a sheet of plywood which actually does the same thing. So they're really powerful, and I can bring them towards the drums or further away. Again, it's attention to detail. I really try and work hard to get this room and the drums to sound as good as possible. I offer percussion. I've got some bongos, tambourines, cabasses, shakers. What I find is a lot of people are quantizing everything to the grid, which is okay, but it does sound a bit robotic. So what I find is if you play to a click, that's good enough. And then when you do your shakers, if you just add a shaker in, it's normally quantized, so it doesn't quite match the human element of the drum. So I always offer to do those sort of percussions for the whole of the song. So the bongos, shakers will be for the whole length of the song, and it just fits nicely in. So what happens is the drums get recorded all through the mics. I run it into an SSL Desk. Now the SSL Desk has got the same preamps as those massive consoles you may have seen in studios. EQs are tailored back a bit. You can use the DAW to do any more EQing than you have to, but what I've got on there seems to work fine. The desk, unfortunately, has only got a few inputs, so what I have done is bought some handmade preamps. So I've got this beautiful handmade preamp made in London, and that basically has 8 channels, so I've got 8 extra inputs that go into the desk, giving me 13 inputs, which is just about enough for this drum kit. It works really well, as I say, and I run it into Cubase which is the latest version. The other thing I do is run the drums through the Fusion. The SSL Fusion, I just think works fantastic on drums. They've so much scope to just slightly tweak those drums to make them sound so good. And I basically go straight into the Fusion, then through the desk into Cubase. So that works really, really well, and it sounds fantastic. So to hear my drumming and my tracks, I need a decent set of monitors. I'm lucky enough to get hold of the Type 20 Mark II heads. They're awesome monitors, and I run a KRK sub to hear the low end. These are really crystal clear monitors, and they really work because you can only mix what you hear. So it's essential that you get decent monitors. The other thing is I can't mix without headphones. You'll see these in most studios. These are the DT770Ms. The M's just mean that these are isolation ones with a longer lead, so they work really well. So when you put them on, it's like having a pair of ear defenders on, so you really get used to it. So if there's any drum parts or drum tracks or anything you need, please let me know. I can video everything. I do that as well for clients. They like that. Having a drummer, I don't have to be in it. I can just show the sticks going round. The difference, what I tend to do is I try and do the consultation over Zoom, because that way I can jump on this fantastic electric kit by Yamaha, and this basically means that I've got the screen in front of me, so it's like I'm sat opposite you. You can see what I do. I'll be playing what you want me to play rather than me just guess what you think would fit better. Some clients do that, which isn't a problem, but I much prefer to be on talking terms and say, like, I'm going to do this, how does that sound? It just makes all those revisions unnecessary, and you come away thinking that drum part's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. I didn't know how to tell him or her how to do that, but as I say, if we do the Zoom meeting, we can chat it through. Once I've done it on the electric kit, that can either be recorded or I could just write the part out, and then I'll come to the acoustic and it'll be fantastic that way. Thanks a lot for listening. It's been great, and I hope to hear from you soon. My name's Alex Biggs. This is Drum Bass Studios. See you in the next one.